You finished a 12-hour day. You have been in back-to-back calls since 7 a.m. Your brain is still running. The P&L, the personal problem, the board deck that is not where it needs to be, you have not actually stopped thinking since you woke up. So you pour 2 fingers of bourbon, or maybe it's a THC gummy, and you tell yourself, this is how I manage the pressure. I'm not here to moralize. I do not care what your lifestyle choices are outside of what they are doing to your biology. And what they are doing to your biology is this. 2 drinks drive your resting heart rate up 10 to 15 beats per minute for the entire night. They cut your REM sleep by 30 to 60%. You did not decompress, you sedated yourself. And there is a profound, measurable biological difference between those 2 things. Sedation is not recovery. It is the illusion of recovery. And you are paying for that illusion every single morning. I'm Zac. I've spent over 27 years in high pressure operational environments. I understand exactly what it means to perform under sustained cognitive and physiological pressure. Now, I engineer biological systems for high performing executives who are running companies the same way I used to operate, on fumes, on adrenaline, and on the assumption that rest is for the people who are not as committed. That assumption is killing your performance. We do not guess in my program. We pull 80 plus biomarkers. We track the wearables. We identify the root cause. That is the first of the 4 videos in this series. By the end of all 4, you have a complete operating system for your body. Let's get into it. I'm going to show you something I show every new client on our first call. Not because I want to shame them, because data cuts through the rationalization faster than anything I can say. High performers use whatever lever is fastest to get relief from a massive cognitive load. This is not weakness. This is pattern recognition. You found something that works short term and you deployed it. The problem is biological cost on the short-term lever is compounding in the ways you cannot see without the data. Look at his Whoop dashboard. This is a real CEO of a Fortune 500 company. He runs a team of about 800. He has 2 kids at home. Tuesday night, he had 2 glasses of Cabernet at a client center. That's it. Just 2 glasses, a normal Tuesday. His heart rate floor that night was 68 beats per minute. That is his floor. The lowest heart rate got all night. His body never fully downregulated because it was processing ethanol for over 6 hours. His HRV tanked to 31. His REM sleep, where actual cognitive consolidation happens, 42 minutes. In an 8-hour window. That's not sleep. That's expensive unconsciousness. Now look at the right side. This is the same CEO, 7 days later, following the 4-step protocol I'm about to give you. His heart rate floor drops to 52. HRV doubles to 65. REM sleep, 2 hours and 15 minutes. His body rebuilt overnight instead of fighting a toxin. This is the difference between waking up like a mercenary and waking up like a victim. Same discipline, same schedule, same man, different chemical input. The data, it's not subtle. And here's what the data translate in the real world to the guy on the left making slower decisions at 10 a.m. He is more reactive in conflict. His recall in high stakes conversation is degraded. He does not feel hungover, but his brain is operating at a measurable deficit. Meanwhile, the guy on the right walks into his 8 a.m. board meeting with a fully consolidated, fully recovered prefrontal cortex. That is what we call a competitive advantage. Let me give you the mechanism so it's not just data. Alcohol and THC are central nervous system depressants. They lower your neural activity, which creates the sensation of slowing down. And you interpret that sensation as relaxation. But here's a critical distinction. Sedation is suppression of the brain activity. Sleep is organized, cyclical, anabolic brain activity. They feel similar from the inside, and they are completely different biologically. When you fall asleep sober, your brain moves through sleep architecture. Light sleep, deep sleep, REM, cycling roughly every 90 minutes through the night. REM is where your hippocampus consolidates the day's learning into long-term memory. It is also where your lymphatic system, your brain's waste clearance mechanism, clears plaques and metabolic byproducts from the fluid in your brain. No REM means no clearing. That is not just brain fog. That is biological precursor to long-term cognitive decline. Alcohol suppresses REM almost entirely for the first half of the night. It does not cancel sleep, it hijacks the architecture. You get sedation, light sleep, and fragmented garbage in place of the deep repair cycles your brain actually requires. Simultaneously, alcohol is a testosterone antagonist. It directly inhibits the cells in your testes responsible for testosterone production. One night of drinking measurably drops testosterone the following morning. If you do this 3 or 4 nights a week for a decade, and you have created a chronic hormonal suppression pattern that no TRT clinic can fully compensate for, because you're injecting one hand while on the other hand, you're draining the tank. And your body's response to a toxin in the bloodstream is a cortisol spike in the early morning hours to mobilize the resources to clear it. So instead of waking up with that gradual cortisol rise that gives you energy and focus, you wake up with a cortisol spike, already in fight or flight before you have checked a single email. And that's not stress, that's your chemistry. And once you see it in the data, can't pretend it's not there. Here is your 24-hour test. Not a 90-day program, not a lifestyle overhaul. 4 specific interventions for 7 days. Your wearable will show you the results before I have to say another word. Absolute 0 alcohol within 90 minutes of the time your head hits the pillow. This is not about drinking less, this is about timing. Your liver processes alcohol at roughly 1 drink per hour. If you finish a drink at 10 p.m., you are in bed at 11. That alcohol is still in your system, still spiking insulin, still suppressing REM architecture during the critical first half of your sleep window. Move the drink to 8 p.m. and the physiology changes completely. This is the highest leverage, low friction change in the entire protocol. Start here. 10 minutes of hot water before bed. This is not self-care. This is thermoregulation science. Hot water vasodilates your peripheral blood vessels. It pulls blood to the surface of the skin, to your hands and your feet. When you step out of the shower, that blood rapidly dissipates the heat from your core. Core temperature drops 1 to 2 degrees. And core temperature drop is the primary biological trigger that shifts your nervous system from sympathetic into a parasympathetic state required for deep sleep onset. Most executives go directly from the screen to a bed and wonder why they're staring at the ceiling for 45 minutes. You're asking your nervous system to go from full activation to sleep without the thermal transition. The shower is the transition mechanism. Use it. I'm going to demonstrate this with you right now. This takes 19 seconds and will measurably shift your nervous system state. Close your mouth. Inhale through your nose for exactly 4 seconds. Completely hold still for 7 seconds. Exhale through your mouth, full audible whoosh for 8 seconds. Completely empty the diaphragm. That is 1 cycle. Do that 3 times before you get into bed. The extend exhale activates the vagus nerve, the primary nerve for your parasympathetic nervous system. The vagus nerve is the biological off switch. You're not relaxing through willpower. You are stimulating a specific neural pathway that downregulates your fight or flight response. These 3 cycles will drop your heart rate 8 to 12 beats per minute within minutes. I have the Whoop data to prove it. Pick a time. Same time every night. Not when the work is done, because the work is never done. Not when you feel tired, because an exhausted executive circadian rhythm is already disrupted and your tired signal is unreliable. Anchor it and protect it the same way you protect your most important meeting of the week. Your circadian rhythm is regulated by a structure in your hypothalamus. It runs on a 24-hour clock guided by light exposure, temperature, and timing consistency. Every time you go to bed at a different time, you are re-entraining that clock. You are creating biological jet lag in your own home. Consistency in timing, even more than total sleep hours, is the most powerful input you can give your sleep architecture. 7 days, run all 4. Do not change anything. Let the data show in 1 week of structured sleep does to your morning energy, your focus window, and your recovery score. That is the argument I cannot make better than your own wearable device. What I just gave you is the foundation, and it will work. But it's 1 layer of a system that, when fully built, completely changes your performance trajectory. On our diagnosis call, we're going to map out what your 80+ biomarker blood panel will do for you. This will include talking about how your testosterone, cortisol rhythm, thyroid, metabolic markers, and inflammatory load will actually play a factor moving forward. And then we'll show you how cross-referencing this with your wearable data will make a significant difference as we build your program specific to your physiology and to your specific schedule. No template, your system. If we cannot find a realistic 20% energy gain on paper during that call, we do not take you on as a client. I do not run a volume business. I run a results business. Click the link below and book the call. And if you're not ready for that call yet, stay with me for the next video, because we just fixed your sleep. Your recovery foundation is in place. But there's a very good chance that your testosterone is not just low. Your entire metabolic engine is broken. And I'm going to show you why injecting testosterone into a broken metabolic engine does not just fail to work. It actively makes you worse. And that's next.